Station 2 for rendezvous.
Go.
All right, so Cygnus and station are configured for approach inside the keep-out sphere. You can expect approach to resume shortly, and stand by for PCS HCP command checkout.
Standing by, copy.
The result of the poll among the flight control teams here and outside Washington, D.C. and Dulles, Virginia at Orbital ATK's Mission Control Center all go to continue with the rendezvous that relayed to Commander Scott Kelly aboard the space station. The next hold point will actually be at 30 meters, or just inside 100 feet from the station. That's scheduled to occur around 4:40 this morning Central Time.
PCS HEP command checkout. Hold arm for step 3 and 1.102.
Okay, we see VV mode is approach. I see the pry range is decreasing. I see hold arm light is on, and I'm going to command hold arm mark. And command sent. And hold arm is flashing.
Roger, thanks. All right, on to station. The hold arm is confirmed. Your go for command checkout disarm per step 4.
Okay, go for step 4. Okay, here comes disarm, execute, mark. And OK, mark. And command sent. And hold arm is eliminated, so the hold command is disarmed.
Roger. All right, Scott, the command checkout was successful. You can begin monitoring approach from 250 meters per step 5.
Okay, copy step 5. And the light is within the quarter. The vehicle size relative to the outline, again, is hard to estimate in the dark. The light is offset from the circle, kind of the same as before, biased forward and port. And the circle is offset from the quarter center about a vehicle width to starboard and aligned forward and aft.
All right, copy all. We're happy with that report.
Okay, and that was on camera 3, and camera 9 looks very similar.
Copy. And on to Scott, Cygnus is inside the 200-meter keep-out sphere. Just a reminder that you have authority to issue an abort if we become no comm and the light drifts outside the corridor.
Okay, copy that. And the corridor changed from gray to green.
Okay, expected. Thanks.
So as you heard, the Cygnus spacecraft's now inside 200 meters. That's about 650 feet from the station. The imaginary keep-out sphere, that's just providing situational awareness to relay to Scott Kelly, who is providing the commentary from the International Space Station to the flight control teams as he follows along with the approach of Cygnus as it continues to close in on the International Space Station and the capture of the spacecraft's grapple fixture, a pin basically that's mounted on the spacecraft that will be captured using the station's Canadarm2, which is under control and will be under control of astronaut Kjell Lindgren aboard the station. One of the final major tasks of his mission before he comes home this Friday morning after more than 141 days in space and aboard the International Space Station. As you see from the animation, this depiction shows where Cygnus is headed, and that is to the U.S. Unity module, one of the berthing ports, the Earth-facing berthing port on that Unity module. That's where Cygnus will reside while it's unpacked and then later reloaded with unneeded hardware, trash, supplies that are no longer required aboard the station that will leave with Cygnus and burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere in a controlled re-entry at the end of its flight.
Light is offset from the circle about, I would say, about a vehicle width to starboard and about a half of vehicle width to aft. And the circle in relation to the quarter center is unchanged.
Okay, copy. So basically what's different is you get one width starboard and half a width half a length half.
Correct, and that's on camera 9, so now reporting just a discrepancy between the two different camera views.
All right, copy all that, Scott, and we expect all these to kind of converge to bullseye as the vehicle gets closer.
Okay, copy.
Inside 150 meters now, 492 feet from the International Space Station, as you're looking at the flight control team at Orbital ATK's facility in Virginia at the Dulles facility out near Dulles Airport outside Washington, D.C. For those keeping track, this is the 164th mission to the International Space Station, accounting for all of the launches that have occurred since the inception of the program, with the first Element launch back in November of 1998. now 120 meters from the station. That's about 393 feet as the two spacecraft, the Cygnus and the International Space Station, track southeasterly across the equator, headed toward an orbital sunrise in just under 8 minutes as it heads toward the southern tip of South America. Approaching 100 meters. That's about 328 feet from the station. That's the point. Once inside that point, the laser imaging distance and range system known as LiDAR will provide the accurate tracking of the spacecraft in terms of relative distance from the station.
The light is offset from the circle about 2 widths to port and about half a length forward. Again, this is on camera 3. I would say it definitely seems to be converging to starboard, from port to starboard. Forward and aft seems like it's been pretty constant. And the circle is offset from the quarter center line, basically unchanged, about a vehicle width to starboard. On camera 9, still the same kind of discrepancy there, where it looks like the light, the vehicle is biased to starboard instead of port.
Okay, copy on 3. Light is 2 port, half forward, and circle, no change, half starboard. And on 9, light is more towards starboard.
Correct. And I can give you more specifics on camera 9 if you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the lights within the quarter on camera 9, obviously the vehicle size relative to the outline is, again, I'm just sort of guessing because I can't really see the whole vehicle, but it seems like it'd be close based on the lights. The light is offset from the circle about a little less than a vehicle width, probably about a half a vehicle width to starboard. And the circle is offset from the quarter center, the same as on the port camera, so it's offset starboard only by about a vehicle width.
Okay, so basically size looks good. Light to circle about half starboard, and circle to corridor about 1 starboard.
Correct.
All right, we like that report, Scott. Thanks.
And that running commentary from Scott Kelly aboard the station, all flight controllers are in agreement with what he is reporting and are happy with those numbers, reporting that everything is converging as it should be relative to Cygnus's approach to the International Space Station. With the berthing scheduled to occur a little bit after 5 o'clock this morning Central Time, it's not an exact time right now, but targeted for a little after at 5:10 a.m. Central. That's obviously at this point irrelevant in terms of the actual berthing or capture time. That's a targeted time that it would arrive at a capture point, essentially about 35 to 40 feet from the station, such that Kjell Lindgren can operate the station's robot arm, move it in for that capture with the latching end effector on the end of the Canadarm2 onto the grapple fixture on the Cygnus spacecraft. The view from the back of the flight control room here in Mission Control. This team of flight controllers took handover about midnight from the previous flight control team that support around-the-clock oversight and operations of the space station. Lead flight director for this mission has been working with his team for quite a long time. That work coming to fruition this morning with flight director Judd Freeling on console. The astronaut to his right is Canadian Space Agency astronaut David Saint-Jacques. You hear him handling the communications between this team and the crew aboard the International Space Station. All of those comments relayed through the flight director to the station and back to the flight control teams here, and as well as the orbital ATK flight control team in its own mission control center at its Dulles, Virginia facility outside Washington, D.C.
And we see the Tigris to BB LOS message, and saw that earlier as well.
Yep, okay. No issues.
Houston, now that we can see the vehicle size relative to the outline, I would say the vehicle is it's definitely larger, probably 50% larger.
Okay, copy, and we can see that on the downlink view as well.
53 meters from the station, 173 feet.
52 meters here.
Sunrise breaking aboard the space station and the Cygnus spacecraft as the two head out southeasterly, tracking across the southeast Pacific Ocean.
And looks pretty much converged there on camera 9 as far as the circle over the light. It's very close. And the circle offset from the quarter center line, now about a half a vehicle width on the camera 3, and on camera 9, about a half vehicle width to starboard. So starboard on camera 9, I'm sorry, yes, starboard on camera 9 and starboard on camera 3.
All right, light within corridor, size bigger, maybe 50%. As for the light, camera 3, 1 port, camera 9 centered. And for the circle to corridor, camera 3 half starboard and camera 9 half starboard as well.
Correct.
And just for a sanity check, Scott, do you see the size discrepancy on both views?
Yeah, it's definitely more pronounced on camera 3, but yeah, I would say camera 9, it's pretty close to the vehicle outline matching the vehicle size.
Okay, it looks worse on 3.
Yeah, correct. It's clearly about 50% larger on 3, and I would say now on camera 9, it matches very closely.
Roger.
External high-definition view of Cygnus as it continues its very slow approach to the station, now inside 50 meters. About 160 feet from the station.
Size on camera 3 is now converging also. It's much more closely matching the vehicle outline. So the light is within the corridor. The vehicle size, I think in both cameras are good now. The light is offset from the circle on camera 3. It's about a vehicle width to port, and camera 9, it's all centered up. And the circle is offset from the quarter center. In both cases, both cameras, the circle is in the quarter center now.
All right, copy. So sizes now look good, both views. On camera 3, the light looks one with port. Everything else is bullseye.
Correct.
now inside 32 meters, 104 feet from the station, standing by for the next staging point at 30 meters. Beautiful view of the brand new Cygnus spacecraft as Cygnus and the space station approach the southern coast of Chile.
Hey, Station on 2 for a rendezvous. Please confirm 30-meter hold and brief for capture per step 6 and 1.102. Let us know when you're ready to proceed.
Okay, we see VV mode is hold. The pry range is 30.65. We will command the lights off. I'll do that right now. And as far as the report, again, just one more quick one. The obviously light within the corridor, vehicle size relative to the outline, both cameras very matches very well. On camera 3, light is offset from the circle by about a half vehicle width now, and everything's centered up on camera 9, and the circle on camera 3 is offset from, I would say on camera 3, the circle's offset from the center corridor by probably about a half a circle's width, and to starboard in both camera views. And starting the brief.
Okay, we like that report. Thanks. Let us know when you're done and ready.
So here at the 30-meter point, we've already gotten a report that all are go for the approach on board. The crew members are briefing their procedures in preparation for the final approach to the capture point. Current range 30 meters, are just inside 100 feet. And there'll be a poll between the of the flight control teams. Flight Director Judd Freeling will poll all of his positions. That will include input from the Mission Control Center in Dulles, Virginia, Orbital ATK's facility. And the resume, that will result in a resume of for final approach to the capture point. The arrival at the capture point is estimated at about 10 minutes or so after the go for final approach. Capture point arrival is approximately 35 feet or so, so that it can be reached by the station's Canadarm2, the robotic arm of the International Space Station that will be under control of astronaut Kjell Lindgren from a robotic workstation inside the space station. At this 30-meter point, 98 feet from the station, the crew on board is reviewing the procedures for the capture of Cygnus. In addition to the other new features of Cygnus, including a larger vehicle, it's also incorporating a cargo net configuration rather than actual racks to allow for the stowage of even more cargo on the inside the pressurized cargo module of the spacecraft. It's also testing a infrared sensor known as Clever Eye, which is actually being tested in a passive mode. It's not incorporated into the ranging system. And that eventually, obviously, will be incorporated once it's proven effective in measuring the range and distance from the space station on approaches for future rendezvous. And on board, the crew is repositioning the cameras. That's the movement that you see. That's actually being controlled by the crew. They're setting up their own camera views in preparation for the final approach of the Cygnus during this rendezvous phase with the International Space Station, the European Space Agency Columbus Laboratory coming into view there in the bottom of the picture. And there you see the Canadarm2, the major contribution provided by the Canadian Space Agency experts in robotics, space robotics. This gives a very good relative distance of Cygnus to the International Space Station, and the end effector, the latching end effector on the Canadarm2. It's actually a busy December. The highway traffic around the International Space Station, the arrival of this Cygnus spacecraft kicks off a December that includes quite a bit of visiting vehicle traffic. A Soyuz crew spacecraft set to depart on Friday with 3 crew members returning home. There'll also be a departure of a Russian cargo vehicle, the 60 Progress spacecraft, set to leave on December 19th. And that will also set the stage for the launch and arrival of a new Russian cargo vehicle, the 62 Progress, targeted for launch December 21st, arrival on Wednesday, December 23rd.
For capture heads up, we will need to depart 30 meters within about 10 minutes if we want to make the first lighting window.
Ready to go. Safings removed and briefings are complete.
Copy that.
So in other words, Houston, we're ready for Cygnus approach to the capture point.
Copy that. Thank you. And for capture, Cygnus is ready to proceed to the capture point. You can expect the approach to resume shortly.
Okay, copy.
And with that call, everyone's ready for the continuation of the approach to the capture point.
All right, on 2 for capture. Cygnus has resumed approach to the capture point. You can monitor approach within 30 meters per step 7. And a reminder that the crew is primed to issue a retreat command if prior range becomes less than 6 meters.
Okay, copy, and we see VV mode is approach. Prior range is 28.5 and decreasing. For the quarter monitoring, we'll use camera 9 now, and the lights within the quarter. Vehicle size relative to the outline is matched perfectly. The light is not offset from the circle. It looks pretty much in the circle, and the circle is very close to quarter center line, so it all looks good.
All right, copy all, bullseye.
by the timeline, the distance, closing that distance from the 30-meter point to the capture point should take about 6 to 8 minutes or so. The station and Cygnus are approaching the southwestern coastline of Africa, South Africa, tracking northeasterly across the southeastern Atlantic Ocean. Our next orbital sunset is 31 minutes away. And now this view from just under 25 meters, about 82 feet. In about 5 minutes, we're expected to be at that capture point. At that point in the final phase of the rendezvous, Flight Director Judd Freeling will poll all of his flight control positions here in Mission Control. That will include input from Orbital ATK's Mission Control Center in Dulles, Virginia, outside Washington as well. That will be essentially the final poll for the go, no-go for capture. Our current estimate for actual capture now is about 18 minutes after the hour. "20 meters, 65 feet.
Houston, at 20 meters, as far as the quarter monitoring, everything's lined up perfectly.
Copy, bullseye at 20 meters.
The coast of South Africa falling away beneath the station at an altitude of 254 statute miles, crossing the coastline north of Cape Town.
And Houston, just understand that we can expect to see the Tigris to VVLOS during the entire remainder of this. There's no concern with that.
You are correct. No concerns.
And this unique view is from the latching end effector camera on the end of Canadarm2. You see the Cygnus now slowly moving into that camera view, preparation for reaching the capture point. Once Cygnus is captured, there'll be some time where there's some a break in the action, if you will, ahead of the actual berthing procedures that will be a little bit later this morning. We'll obviously cover all of that live for you as well. Once Cygnus is berthed safely and securely to the Unity berthing port, the Earth-facing berthing port on that Unity module, the crew members will then go about the rest of their day and in preparation to continue preparation for the return home of 3 of the crew members after more than 141 days in space. And since there's no hurry with getting the hatch open, that will not be opened today. It is in the timeline to occur Thursday morning in the crew's day, about currently targeted to begin about 4 o'clock Houston time Thursday morning. And that will be conducted, overseen by Commander Scott Kelly and Kjell Lindgren. Orbital ATK conducting its own poll in preparation for the poll from here in Houston with Flight Director Judd Freeling. And you see that distance closing now, about to reach a point, what's known as the capture point. And you saw the view from the latching end effector camera, and you can clearly see the grapple pin on the Cygnus spacecraft. A beautiful view of this brand new cargo vehicle, the commercial cargo vehicle arriving at the station as the 2 spacecraft currently fly high above Zimbabwe, tracking northeasterly across the African continent. And we have confirmation that Cygnus has arrived at the capture point.
Station on 2. Please confirm capture point hold per step 8.
Okay, primary range is 12.09. Range rate is 0. VV mode is CP hold. PCS HCP LED config is per column 3 under CP hold. The grapple fixture is stable within the capture volume. The dot is within the outer quarter of the nested quarter. No limit check violations. Occasionally he'll have that TDRS to VVLOS popping up. Understand that's not a concern. Lighting conditions look great, and the capture conditions are confirmed, and we're ready for Cygnus capture.
Copy all. Stand by for capture.
So with that, we'll stand by now for the poll from Flight Director Judd Freeling of all of his flight control positions, go, no-go call for capture at a distance of about 40 feet. From the International Space Station.
Station on 2 for capture. You are go for Cygnus capture sequence. Go for capture, step 4, and 1.110 Cygnus capture. Begin monitoring the back wake U-card.
Copy, go for capture 1.110 step 4 and monitoring the back wake U-card.
And the crew now has been given a go for capture. Kjell Lindgren in control of the station's Canadarm2 robotic arm, ready to close in on the grapple fixture on the Cygnus spacecraft. Kjell Lindgren has armed the trigger, the capture latching mechanism on the robotic arm. And unfortunately, we'll probably lose our television for the next 15 or 20 minutes as we've lost a communications link through the KU band system. As the two spacecraft fly high above Somalia, tracking northeasterly, the track will take the station and Cygnus over the Gulf of Aden, and then tracking northeasterly, skirting the coast of Oman, and then heading out across Pakistan and Tajikistan into a sunset high above Russia and Kazakhstan. And the station now is armed to transition to free drift, meaning no perturbations of the station itself. The robotic arm is in motion, heading in for capture. And the graphic showing the arm is in motion, ready to close over that grapple pin. Inside 10 feet. Space station is now in free drift. No thruster firings or any perturbations during the capture phase. And capture confirmed. 5:19 a.m. Central, 6:19 Eastern Time. The station flying high above the Arabian Sea, skirting the coast of Oman. 252 statute miles in altitude. Cygnus has arrived at the station, and the latches now are driving to secure the spacecraft to the station's robotic arm. A beautiful rendezvous profile all the way from liftoff on Sunday to arrival at the station this morning. The team at Orbital ATK's control center in Dulles, Virginia, outside Washington, D.C., obviously very excited to see their spacecraft at the International Space Station.
On to Cygnus capture is complete. Your go for configuration.
Outstanding. There is much rejoicing on the ground. Thank you, guys. Well done.
Thank you, and our thanks and congratulations for a phenomenal team effort in delivering the Cygnus vehicle and its precious cargo to the International Space Station. Special thanks to our training team, to the flight control team, to the HD, the Eastern Range, and the 45th Space Wing. Capstone for Expedition 45. Yes. And welcome aboard, Deke Slayton.
Thank you, Kjell and Scott and Kimia, and it went flawlessly, textbook perfect.
Kjell Lindgren providing some words after he expertly commanded the station's Canadarm2, the robot arm of the International Space Station. Again, the complex flying high above the Arabian Sea at the time of capture. The Orbital ATK mission director reporting to Judd Freeling that it was good to be back at the space station.